Hi, welcome to Love Devotion. Today's video, I wanted to touch down on some things I think your loved ones would want you to know. Now, when my son passed, I had lots of questions, and he helped answer some of these for me. So I have some written down, and I'm going to try and explain to you what your loved one really wants you to know. And I find it's important that people need to stop and think about this when they're in pain. Grief is a hard thing and it takes time to get over. But if you have these little uh, thoughts of information, it can help you move forward. So let's see. Um, my first one is if they had known what they know now, they would have lived differently while here on earth. And the reason is when we come into life, we have been kind of doled over in a sense. Sylvia Browne used to say that this place was, I forget what she used to call it, but we're in like a dense atmosphere and we only use a certain percentage of our brains while in life, and also because we're here to learn, so we don't have all the answers. So what they want to say is that if someone passed over and they led a life that was difficult, or they were always seeking the wrong path, when they go home, they'll often give you that message. If I knew then what I know now, I would have did things differently. So, that is a true statement. Let's see. They do see all your thoughts from the minute they passed. Also, when you pass over, we replay our lives. So they can replay everything out. So nothing is missed. Don't ever question yourself, well, I hope they know this, or I hope they see this, or I hope they can experience such and such wedding, or I wish they could have been here to share this moment. We don't die. They're here. They see everything. And like some of the intimate moments, you don't have to worry about that because they don't. When you're back to soul form, you don't think of those tedious things anymore. So you don't have to worry about those those situations. But when you are thinking of them, they're here. It being their time to go. I'll try and explain it in short form. When we come into life, we choose our family, our acquaintances, our situations that we're going to have to learn. And so sometimes a person has to leave in order to teach other people that are still here, or simply the fact that they were done. They no longer needed to be here. They finished their karmic debt. There's so much involved with being in human form. So it's hard to explain at times. But yeah, I mean, if the baby died in the womb, please don't be sad and please don't be mad. It was just something that soul chose to do. And when I say that, we have to remember that death has to come certain ways. So you can pass from illnesses, you can pass from old age, you can pass from an accident, you can pass from someone inflicting pain on you. It's just a way to exit. But don't think of the way they died so literal. It was just a form of them exiting. And death is beautiful. And I hate saying the word death because we don't die, but that's what we see it as. So I have to call it death. But as soon as you cross over, you're greeted with everyone you've ever known, everyone you know from this life. So death is not scary whatsoever. And when pain is inflicted on someone, the mind is dealt with when you pass over. It's like an incubation period where they will help soothe that agony that you went through or something, just say you burned or whatnot. And a lot of times when you do pass over, they say that the minute it's inflicted, your soul is gone. You're outside the body. Your nerves and everything are still reacting, but it's not really the soul in this shell, if that helps any. And my next one is there is no such thing as death. I was proven that. My son stayed with me from the minute he crossed over, and we don't die. So this is just a shell that we have while here, and when you're done, you leave it and go home. Also, I call home, sorry, heaven is home. Also, when we cross over and go back home, there is no such thing as time. Time is something that is here on earth to keep us moving forward and letting us know it's almost time. It's almost time to go back home. So on the other side, there is no such thing as time. So when your loved one is home, they think they left yesterday. Where my son's been gone almost 15 years, he thinks that he just exited yesterday, and they have no form of grief of missing you because they know you're almost done. They're watching you through their eyes, watching you finish your grade. I consider life as being in school. Everyone's on a different level, so I think everyone's in a different grade. That's how I see it as. So they think, oh, she's almost done, she'll be here in a minute, like whatever, right? So you don't ever have to worry about them missing you because there is no such thing. They're animals. Any animal you've had that you've loved will come and greet you. That love is not broken. They are with you for eternity. That reminds me, has nothing to do with this, but I know me as being an empath, the love I have for animals is just crazy. I can't stand watching an animal be killed or fight, which is natural in nature. It freaks me out. And my animals are just as important as my kids. And I also enjoy their company a lot more than I do some individuals. So I thought that was interesting. Okay. Like earthly worries, when someone passes over, when they go home, they don't have that worry that they had here. Like, say, they were worried about material items or, certain things that they did. They go back to all knowing. As soon as you cross over, you go back to all knowing. You have the hall of Akashic records, and you rewind your life, and you understand all the lives you've lived and what your purpose was in going into life. And so they don't have those worries. It's kind of like You know how like you watch a scary movie? I mean, Hollywood uh, over exaggerates, but it is kind of true how you would think a person crosses over and they just, this is my house, this is my house. But when they pass, they don't cross over. They're in between. They don't go into the light. They don't want to. They want to stay with that house. And that's where like a ghost would be formed. That is true. And they still have that worry because they didn't cross over yet. So when your loved one does cross over, which most people do, I mean, you have that rare person that just will not refuse to cross over, whatnot, you know what I mean? And you can help them move into the light and cross over. But yeah, once you cross over, you no longer have those worries that we have on an earthly level. And that's the same with pain. Any kind of illness, injuries, they're all better. Age, there's no such thing as, staying in that pain that we endure here. The pain is more or less for us to learn. It's hard to believe, but people do come in with medical issues. Sometimes you'll notice like a family where they think it's like the DNA, where the whole family kind of suffers with, it's hereditary type situations, because that group came in to try and better understand why the situations they're doing are causing these things. People don't understand that we cause all the pain, all the disease, all the illnesses that we have. Sometimes not always in this life. Sometimes we bring it from past lives that we bring into this life to work on. So that's another thing to think about. You always want to work on your body and think about what you can do with your mind, body, and soul on how to perfect yourself to get over that type of illness or whatnot. Now, in the way they left, sometimes it's an easy thing where it's just in their sleep, or sometimes they're tortured or murdered. We come here to evolve, and in order to evolve, we must experience. We can't sit here and just have roses and gumdrops every day. We wouldn't learn. So we have to realize that everything is for a reason, and everything is to be learned from. So when a soul chooses to leave on a difficult note, they actually have conquered a they had great I can't even think of a word. They're older souls. They're able to experience it where some can't. And that's another thing. We have young souls and we have old souls. So a young soul would never be given something that dramatic. And that leads me also to like if people with like Down syndrome, handicap, homelessness, those types of things, they're actually old souls. They would never be able to come in on a contract like that if they were a young soul. A young soul would be more or less like someone that has everything kind of given to them and things just kind of fall into their lap because they're just testing the waters. As you get in a higher grade or soul level, you tend to take on harder issues. And no one's putting this on you. When you're home, you're like, oh, I want to go do this, this, and that. And then you get here, you're like, oh, hell, what was I thinking? That's what I'm thinking. And then here goes Earth as a school. My son taught me that we are here to learn. And now I look at things as everything being a learning experience. So even when times are rough, it's a bitch. I still have emotions because I'm human. But I do sit back and think, okay, how do I get through this? I know tomorrow will be a better day because everything passes. So, if you have some rough patches, deal with them. You can do it. Be strong, and it will pass. And when you're on the other side, you can be everywhere. My son could be with me. He could be with his dad, his brother. Can be all over the world, anywhere they can be at once. So, that's when you see the little memorials on the side of the road where a loved one passed away, and I gotta go back over there and talk to him. You don't have to. If you want to set up a memorial, in their name right there, that's fine. Everything is done for us. They don't care. It doesn't matter where they passed. My son passed in the hospital. Let me go back to that hospital and talk to him. I don't need to. And that's with like another video I have with the burial or the cremation. It's something we made up, probably with religion and such, but that's something for us. And if that makes you feel better to go do a burial and talk to them there, whatever helps you is fine. But don't ever think that they care. Whatever you want, whatever can get you through this school, they are cheering for. And finally, how you hear about angels and such. Well, I might as well tell you now. Angels have never incarnated. They're only here to help us evolve. So I love when people say, oh, my so-and-so's an angel now. I kind of cringe like, no, you can't if you incarnated. So what you can do is become a spirit guide. My son is a spirit guide for a little girl here on Earth. I don't know of many little girls, so I have no idea, but I guess I could always ask him. But yeah, he's a spirit guide for a little girl now. And my brother just passed, and he told me he's my spirit guide. And then I know of another spirit guide I have, my mom's dad, which I never met in this life. He passed before I was born. He said he's my spirit guide. So your loved ones can become spirit guides, or there's tons of other types of jobs. That's another thing, the lay in peace or rest in peace. You don't need to when you cross over. There's no more tired. There's no more sickness. There's no more hungry. There's no more need to sex, drugs. You know what I mean? There are situations where you can eat, you love food, love to cook, you can do that, but your soul doesn't need any of that. That's something that is in human form. You don't even need to speak. A lot of times when I'm talking to them, it's all through whatever, telepathy, whatnot. So, yeah, so I just wanted to kind of clarify some of that. And I'm going to do another video with questions that people have, like, why did my son do this? Why did my daughter do that? Why do I feel like this? Kind of questions you're left with. So I'm going to try and go over and try and find some and try and better explain it for you. So I hope that helped. And if you want to read more of my blogs or listen to my podcast or my YouTube videos, I have a website called lovedevotion.com, or I'm on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Everything's Love Devotion. So, alrighty, take care.